All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Wherever it is in the world you are streaming here on Twitter, as well as on YouTube. I was pretty quick with it today, getting all the technology right, and hopefully we have a decent stream because we just had a flawless technology police chase. I'm hoping that this internet that I have chosen for this edition of Q&A with Wob may actually work, and we won't just have freezing every 5 seconds here on this show. It is a complete crapshoot. Sometimes it works wonderfully, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what to do about it. What's up, Noti Gang? Alex is in the house. What's happening? Yes, it is a Rays shirt. Shout out to the Rays. They've always been a loyal member of the chat. I don't know if the same social, because those teams usually turn over social media managers and coordinators quite often. Whoever was running the Rays accounts for a while was a Wob person, but if someone takes over, it could be a completely different preference of creators that they engage with. And you have to be a long time Wob follower to know about the Reds and the Rays bits. Yeah, they just sent me a whole bunch of shit one day, so I'm the easiest sell ever. All you have to do if you're a professional team out there is just send me merch and I will wear it. My entire wardrobe, with the exception of my plain black shirts and black joggers, my entire wardrobe is just merchandise that teams send me. That's it. Simple living. But yeah, no, so that particular job, like social media manager for sports teams, it pays absolute dog shit. And those people are usually required to travel with the team. It's more of a resume builder because if you get a social media manager job for an NBA team, an MLB team, or any professional sports team in North America, that's a pretty big deal. That is one of the lowest paying jobs I've seen in sports. And sports doesn't pay to begin with. Those poor people are making like maybe $40,000, $50,000 a year. And I'm talking working every day, weekends, holidays, everything is paid for. So when you're making 50 grand and your travel's paid for, you're put up in hotels, your meals are comped, that all helps, but it's still like $40,000, $50,000 in today's society in America is tough living, man. You better be young and single on that type of salary. And that is why I think you see it turn over a lot. And usually there's a trickle down effect to all of this too, that it's someone usually straight out of college that has a resume of building a brand of some kind that ends up getting these jobs. So they're young 20s, they're not paid a lot of money because it's their first job out of college or out of high school. And then the voice that they bring to the social media accounts is very like Gen Z, Gen Alpha. The way that they create their captions and the content on social media specifically, like the terminology and the language they use is pure Zoomer. I don't know how they even think about relating to anyone that is born after the year 2000 with the way that they transmit some of the things that they do through a Twitter feed, like these SpongeBob memes and whatnot that they put out there every single day. Like, who the fuck that is not a teenager would have any clue what the hell you're talking about? So you kind of get what you pay for. And then those people burn out or they want to go make more money doing something else or figure out I might actually be good at this. I'm going to go do it myself. Then they end up leaving the job. It becomes vacant and you get a whole new direction with the person that takes over. What's up, Rondo? Rate the chase 1 to 10. That was a pretty decent chase. Yeah. I'd say that was like an 8. We had a Paul Walker challenge earlier. That was an 8 out of 10. Dangerous on the side streets. Yeah, pretty busy night tonight in the association. What's up, Earnhardt? Says Spurs Rockets tonight. What do you got? Busy night in the association, which we'll take a look at here thanks to our partners at ProfitX. So have you guys seen the news that has dropped here before I get to the nightcap? Knicks and Raptors. So this is supposed to be a massive game here in the Atlantic Division. The Raptors and Knicks practically tied in the standings, third and fourth place. You would figure this game would have a lot more juice behind it, but now Deuce McBride, Mitchell Robinson out, Josh Hart, and now Jalen Brunson has been added to the downgraded list. He's sick, and it feels as if the Knicks are on the verge of just punting this game. Second leg of a road back-to-back after beating the Kings yesterday. What a bummer, man. This is just the epitome of the NBA. If Brunson and Hart sit and the Knicks just whatever this game. I understand the reasoning for doing it, by the way, because Mitchell Robinson has been on an injury management strategy for a majority of the season. They're doing this to optimize his time on the floor and make sure that he is available for the playoffs when the team needs him the most. He is by far the most impactful role player / non-star in the Eastern Conference this season, and he is very prone to injury. Because he's so big, so long, so tall, and can jump so high, this dude constantly breaks his fingers on the backboard, gets a concussion on the rim. And when he lands, he ends up busting his ankle. He's out for some time. You have to keep him available, and not playing him on a back-to-back has been Mike Brown's strategy. It's worked thus far, but it can be quite frustrating when you decide to play Mitchell Robinson against the Sacramento Kings, who you figure you can beat without Mitch. So save Mitch for the game that matters against the Raptors, but that was not the strategy. Now, Jordan Clarkson, Gershon Yabusele, and Tyler Kolek really haven't been a part of the rotation the past week or so. And now that may be by design because they get big minutes tonight, and this is their opportunity to showcase and see if they'll be worthy of staying in the rotation as we get closer to the playoffs. But something don't feel right about this one. This line, once upon a time, was the Raptors PK. Now it's up to -4. Honestly, if you're looking for action tonight, this sure feels like a spot where the Knicks are punting. Cat's been struggling. So I'd look to the Raptors there as they're going to be full steam ahead at home waiting for the Knicks. Oh, I was supposed to answer the question about Spurs Rockets. I'll take the Spurs +3 tonight. Is that simple enough for you? Spurs +3. We'll do it. The hell just happened here? Did you guys lose me? My iPhone stopped working. Hold on. You guys still there? Damn it. Give me a second. I was so close to having this work. Hold on. I think the stream is still working. Okay. I'm back. I can see you guys. It was just an iPhone issue connected to the wrong internet. Yeah, Spurs Rockets. I'll take the Spurs considering coming off a bad loss to the Pelicans, and they are probably the most ideal matchup against this Rockets team without Steven Adams now. Man, that backcourt is so pro. San Antonio, I would not touch anything on this team if I'm San Antonio. I know it's tough to find Harper, Fox, and Castle all minutes, and Keldon Johnson now is ascending to be the sixth man of the year. He was probably the team's most expendable player considering his contract. Very reasonable. Not many years left. And if you were trying to structure a deal to bring in someone else, like Keldon had to be a part of it, potentially with Harrison Barnes or something, but like their team, Julian Champagnie now is their true floor spacer. They have so much depth. They have so much youth. They're in a very admirable spot. Not as ideal as Oklahoma City, but they are a worthy number 2 in regards to a team's roster that I would want, like my favorite franchise to absorb. It would go OKC 1, San Antonio 2, and then everyone else. Laker Lucas Season asks Rob if the Knicks could get Giannis for a package centered around a cat. How fast would you help him pack his bags? You must be new here. I am anti-trading Karl Anthony Towns. There is what you are doing by removing Towns from the lineup, regardless if he's playing well or not, his mere presence deems the respective defenses in defending this man outside the three-point line. The reason why Jalen Brunson has ascended to this clutch player of the year superstar level is because he's able to operate in space. Nobody is guarding Giannis above the free throw line. So it's going to go back to Jalen Brunson playing with Julius Randle, where he's going to have to navigate a lot more landmines on the defensive side of the ball. I am not interested in that, regardless of what you get back in Giannis. I am not a Knicks doomer this season. I'm usually the first one to tell you the reasons why this Knicks team is not worthy of your consideration. I think this team currently is. And it's because of Karl Anthony Towns' catch and shoot ability, and his mere presence has enabled Jalen Brunson to be the best version of himself. While Giannis may be a better player, I just don't know if he's a better fit with Brunson. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh, right. This is supposed to be the positive stream because I was just about to start complaining. Do we want this to be the positivity only? If you guys keep proposing Drew Holiday, Jeremy Grant tied to the Knicks, I'm sick of a lot of things with the NBA. And towards the top of the list is trade rumors. Do you people not understand that every single rumor comes from a source who is pushing an agenda for their own personal gain? They are trying to speak things into existence. They are manipulating you in your brains, in your consumption of social media to add to the echo chamber, to draw attention to what they want for their clients. So they will go find a media reporter and say, push this, and I'll give you the actual deal when it happens. Y'all got to stop falling for this rumor bullshit. And now there are so many fake accounts out there, aggregators and AI and fake news accounts. You don't know anything that's remotely close to being real. Nothing is real. Until something is done, I don't want to hear about rumors or anything. The days of going to Instagram and seeing players like each other's posts and who watched whose story or something, those were legitimate clues back in the day. But now that players are not participating in any of that anymore, this is what's been used to fill the void, and it is not worthy. Thank you, my oyster world. I can't even use a microphone on this stream anymore because StreamYard just fucking craps out every time I plug it in. So you're listening to me like I'm in the middle of a fish tank speaking into my computer speakers. And Devin Vassell, by the way, thank you, Chad. Stop it, Simses. Devin Vassell. They have one of the most ideal books I've seen in San Antonio Spurs salaries. Okay. Look at this shit. Look how clean these books are. Okay. De'Aaron Fox's contract's going to kick in. You knew that. Devin Vassell is on one of the most team-friendly deals, making $27 million in the year 2026. Feels like that's a mid-level exception nowadays. Harrison Barnes, $19 million, and he comes off the books. Keldon Johnson, just $17.5 million, making all those clutch threes. Contract runs guaranteed through 2027. Kelly Olynyk, someone who potentially out there needs a center. If the Houston didn't have Clint Capella and they lost Steven Adams, you could be like, hey, you want Kelly Olynyk at $13.5 million? And he's expiring. That's a desirable contract. Victor Wembanyama, rookie deal. Dylan Harper, rookie deal. Luke Cornett on a descending contract that goes into the single digits. Steph Castle, rookie contract. Jeremy Sohan's gotten permission to be able to be moved by the team so he doesn't have to go into the qualifying offer. And certainly San Antonio doesn't want to offer that. Carter Bryant, and then so on. Julian Champagnie. making $3 million. How clean are these books? San Antonio is in almost as good of a spot as OKC is. They have so much young talent on team-friendly deals. They paid the right guys, the veteran and De'Aaron Fox that wants to be with Victor Wembanyama long-term. They're set up. They don't have the same amount of draft picks that OKC does, but there's not a single liability in their contracts on their books right now. Helwick says, I told you on night 3 of the season, you can't trade Keldon for vibes. If we do a trade, it's probably Sochan. Sochan's going to get traded because that's actual news. He's been granted permission by the Spurs to seek out a trade partner, and the Spurs will work with him to get that done. That's actual, not just a rumor. That's something that's occurred. Spurs guards have been pretty rough since the new year. All these games in January have been rough. The Knicks have been rough. Philly went on a winning streak. Now they look rough. Someone else will go on a losing streak. Then they'll start winning again. It's just, we are in the middle of, that we are in the dog days of the NBA winter right now. I am beaten down by the apathy. Now, tonight's slate is actually somewhat decent. You could look forward to, but if that Denver-Detroit game didn't deliver last night, that was one of the worst slates of the season. I watched a review in Phoenix take 8 minutes and 14 seconds to get done. I timed it. It took so long. They were booing in Phoenix. Even though the review was going to benefit them, they started booing because this is so bad, we don't even care anymore. Just get on with it. Ultimately, it was a very NBA type of fight. Some shoving, some words were said, hold me back. It ended up with 3 technical fouls for Brooklyn, 2 for Phoenix. We're going to shoot a free throw. It took them 8 minutes and 14 seconds to get to the conclusion of it. The product is in these final 2 minutes in all the reviews. It takes forever. It feels like the score doesn't matter until the fourth quarter because of the volatility. The rules are different in the fourth quarter, by the way, than they are for the rest of the game because they're enforcing the physicality a lot differently. If you so much as fart on somebody, they go to the monitor to review a flagrant action. Sebi in the chat says, Wob, how many players would the Kings need to be able to play at the same time for them to win the title? So if the Kings were allowed, okay. This is a very important question, and these are the type of questions why I do this show. So first of all, I want to say thank you, Sebi. If the Kings were allowed to play 7 players, would they win the title? Is there enough space on a basketball court? Cam Thomas is out tonight, by the way, for the Nets. If you allowed the Kings 2 extra players, could they do enough damage with the spacing available to them to actually be worth it? Now, if you let the Kings play 5-on-3, they would win the title. But if you made them play 7-on-5, I don't think that same advantage applies. Very similar to, hockey power play is 5-on-4. But when it's a 3-on-3 and there's a penalty in overtime, you get to add a player for 4-on-3 as opposed to 3-on-2. Those advantages, 4 versus 3, are significantly more than 5 versus 4. So I would say if the Kings were allowed to play with 2 additional players, 7-on-5, that would certainly help on defense because you can send double teams. That they could have a chance at winning the Western Conference. Yes. But I don't know if it's enough of an advantage on offense. I don't know. It's a good hypothetical, though. It will help a lot more on defense than it would on offense. I'll say that much. Yabu went God mode in Eurobasket. Yabu went God mode at the Olympics. Have we forgotten about the dunk on LeBron James? Nuts for Sports says, I need your thoughts on the Knicks and Giannis. You're the only opinion I seek out. No Giannis in New York, period. And, oh, by the way, it's not going to happen. The Knicks don't have any tradable draft assets. They have one pick available to them in the near future, and that pick is controlled by Washington, who's going to retain it because they suck and their protections mean they're going to keep their pick. And if the Knicks don't get it this year, it liquidates into 2 second rounders. I'll show you right now. So the Knicks have no picks to send to Milwaukee. And if you trade Giannis, you're going into rebuilding mode. I'm going to need some damn picks. If I'm Milwaukee, you're taking Mikal Bridges and Desmond Bane, putting them together. There's no Nico Harrison here. We'll be taking 10 picks, 10 years of control. Okay. So what you see right here, Washington with the little lock sign, protected 1 through 8. And if you click on their name and you scroll down to outgoing trades, you'll see that Washington goes to New York, but it's protected 1 through 8. And it becomes a second rounder if the protections continue. See this? Washington to New York unprotected, executes if Washington first rounder is protected. So the pick that the Knicks have isn't even that desirable. Like, why the hell would Milwaukee be using the Knicks as a trade partner? And the only answer is because they're offering Karl-Anthony Towns. So Karl-Anthony Towns plus Mikal Bridges plus second rounders is what Milwaukee would get in return versus a potential package from. There's a lot better suitors out there. I'll say that much. Stop It Sim says the Zero Fears versus Lute Dort fight was more worthy of a lengthy review than the Suns fight was. Yeah, so at the end, I don't know how many people were watching the end of Pelicans Thunder last night, but Ed Malloy was on one. I don't know why he was walking around peacocking like he was, but they were not blowing the whistle there in the final minute. Lou Dort, Jeremiah Fears, Sadiq Bey, they had been pushing all fourth quarter, and they started to let physicality go, trying to get to the finish line of the final buzzer. And because they didn't blow a whistle when Jeremiah Fears got fouled on some little like final second, I'm just going to shoot for the hell of it, Lou Dort comes in there and just strips him clean, really contacts him hard, then ends up kimono grabbing him by the neck, and he's just like in his face doing, I don't know, Lou Dort things, pissed off Jeremiah Fears. Oh, Josh Hart's going to try and play tonight. Okay, that's a big deal. Maybe we'll get Jalen Brunson then in as well. Josh Hart was downgraded to questionable, but says he's going to attempt to play. That's also a scenario if the Knicks get behind, he could just. That's something I would jump on right now if I were you guys. Right here. Knicks Raptors on ProfitX. Points, rebounds, assists. Josh Hart. 10.5. Bang. 11.5. Bang. If Josh Hart says he's going to try and play and the Knicks fall behind, he's going to be kept out the whole second half. They will punt on that as soon as they are able to. Unders for Josh Hart tonight. Maybe not rebounds because Josh Hart is nuts in that regard, but assists, Josh Hart under 8.5 here at ProfitX. Start getting down some liquidity. That would be my bet of the night for those of you that like to partake. Whenever they say they'll attempt to play, sometimes they go 15, 20 minutes and they're like, I tried, I'm out of here. And all the unders cash. But yes, So that fight, Jeremiah Fears is a young kid, and he was trying to get in the face of Lou Dort. It didn't go that well. It got broken up, and that was that. And it was at the end of the game, so they didn't really need to review for technical fouls and whatnot. But Lou Dort kind of turning into their version of Dylan Brooks. Guys picking up on that? Jalen Brunson officially questionable. Game time decision. It's the status that just dropped from the Knicks. Keeping an eye on this stuff as we going to have some movement here today. This is a Wednesday show that is actually worth sticking around for because we haven't had much major injury news on these streams, but today we've got a whole bunch of questionables that will change the lines and the prop totals and the plenty of closing line value for as far as the eye can see. Regarding the Kings getting if the Kings get 2 extra players on the floor, do you always keep one cherry picking? That's a good strategy. So then you end up playing 6-on-5 on defense and just have someone stationed, which is hilarious, by the way, because they are the team that attempted a cherry picking strategy at the very beginning of the Vivek Ranadive stint as governor. He encouraged trying the cherry picking for one game. Y'all remember that shit? I'm sure Hellwick does. Steve says, I always liked the insert bad team here versus 2016 Warriors. It should be more 2018 Warriors. If the 2018 Warriors were wearing jeans, playing in jeans, handicap them with jeans. Yeah, and also Giannis is hurt, by the way, people. This is gonna what drove me. Do I have permission to turn this in? Do I have to keep doing the positivity stream? Because I can go off on something very quickly here. Nuts for Sports says, I don't think Giannis signs an extension with many other teams, though, and I think Rich Paul, Leon Rose influence on getting him moved quick could benefit the Knicks. You don't think if the Knicks can get Drew from the Blazers, it would increase the likelihood of Giannis asking to be traded to the Knicks for sure? But we fell into this fallacy when the Knicks went out of their way to acquire Royale Ivy when Kevin Durant was a free agent before he went to Brooklyn. Royale Ivy is one of Kevin Durant's best friends. The Knicks made sure that he was on the staff, thinking this will be enough to get KD here because he's got someone that he enjoys being around. And it's just not a guarantee. Now, of course, that's an assistant coach versus a player, much different story, but it's no guarantee. It's not like, if you get Drew, I'm coming. Okay, that's great. But then you still need Milwaukee to agree to a deal. And the Knicks have been down this road before with Carmelo Anthony, where they could have waited until the offseason to just acquire him through free agency, but instead he forces a trade midseason, and the Knicks have to strip down for parts a team that single-handedly pulled them out of irrelevancy, having to send Raymond Felton, Danilo Gallinari, and Timothy Mozgov to Denver, and all that was left over was Amari Stoudemire, Tyson Chandler, nothing else. Then you were reliant on like Chauncey Billups at the end of his career and Landry Fields. So if you're going to trade for Giannis, it's like, oh, great. Giannis is open to staying with us long-term because he's owed a contract extension. So not only do you need Giannis to agree that he wants to be a part of your franchise for the next 5-6 years, then you have to make a trade with the Bucks that they not only agree to, but doesn't completely gut your squad. And Giannis has to approve of it because I don't want you trading the whole roster for me. Then I'm just going to have the same problems wherever I go next that I just had in Milwaukee. Unless somehow he has the same deal set up like Luka does with the Lakers this upcoming offseason, where everyone comes off the books and Luka and Bill Duffy are just going to pick the entire Lakers roster themselves. That's where we're headed with the purple and gold. You're going to need that sort of flexibility to pitch and sell Giannis, plus a city that's desirable for him to live in, which I don't know what that is. Lean into the negativity. It's your calling. Okay, if you insist. Everyone's favorite NBA pregame show is on tonight, Wab. Oh, are you talking about the Inside Guys? I don't care about the pregame show and the halftime show. I just Inside the NBA is a different program. I'll watch the postgame show. Logan also says, I thought people were just hating with the Lou Dort is dirty narrative, but man, I saw quite the compilation of him getting in landing space. It's not the landing space stuff that bothers me. He's not out here trying to Zaza Pachulia everybody, but the way that he runs through screens, it is with reckless abandon. He does not care if he runs into your face. He's going to run straight through you. It's more of just the physical football type of play more than the landing space stuff. I don't think he's out there intentionally putting his foot underneath players with the intention to injure them. I think that's far-fetched. Kenny Smith has Boncaro and Castle in his all-star reserve pick. Boncaro? Castle I'm okay with. Boncaro? Ugh. We did this the other day, though. Oh, Cooper Flagg just got ruled out. What the injury management? Klay Thompson out. Oh, boy. How many more? Let's see what else keeps coming in. We got some movement here in the Dallas game. So they are playing Timberwolves tonight with Anthony Edwards back, who was on his own injury management. Flagg out. Klay out. Ant in. Sitting on a 7.5-point spread right now. But on the Dallas side, you're probably looking at Max Christie and Najee Marshall. Sheesh, 17.5. You just saw it move right there on ProfitX. It's moving now with the news that Coop is out. So expect their usage to go through the roof. Okay. I have not forgotten my opportunity to complain since it was granted by the chat. Let us now discuss the art of NBA reporting. So everyone saw the Giannis news that dropped this morning. It's got bazillions of retweets and engagements and impressions. Did you guys read the actual tweet and article? Because when you see a graphic with giant words breaking in Giannis's face, you're thinking, oh my God, it's happening, it's happening. And they have you so trained that you're immediately going to like retweet it, and he's on the move without even comprehending the message that was sent. And it's so bad that I have to pull it up now. How do y'all keep falling for this shit? I don't want to pull it up because it's on this browser's on my burner account. Anyway, Shams used the words looking to find a new home, which is not new information. Aaron Gordon out for Denver tomorrow. Okay. Nothing that was written in today's Giannis report was newsworthy or essential to what happens with Giannis next. But considering the source in the platform, anything that's published speaks into existence, right? So when the terminology used of Giannis is looking to find a new home does not say that, or is open to finding a new home, does not imply that he has formally requested a trade from the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, why is that important? Because Giannis is on the record, written in blood, saying, I will never demand a trade from Milwaukee. I want to remain loyal, and I will continue to play hard for you guys until the day that I'm traded or no longer on this planet. And he's done that thus far. He even went out there with a bum calf and tried to power the Milwaukee Bucks to victory. He ended up re-injuring himself even more. So once again, the words that are used by Shams in that tweet, that he's open to finding a new home, he has been open to finding a new home. He has representation and agency that are obviously handling his business separate and behind the scenes, he's not directly involved, at least publicly, so that they can be the bad guys. We're the ones who got you traded. It was the Bucks who traded you, not you who traded yourself from. You see the PR that is at work here. This also doesn't make Giannis the bad guy either. He very clearly wants this to work in Milwaukee. But if it's not going to, because this team sucks as currently constructed and they have no future whatsoever, They have a zombie, Damian Lillard, on the books for 5 years because they stretched and waived him so they could go out and sign Miles Turner. This team is handicapped compared to the 29 other franchises. They're $22 million behind everyone else. That money is slashed and not available. None of these things are new. So when a report like this comes out, as we slowly approach the trade deadline, which has been incredibly quiet, the way that the media machine works is an ESPN and a Disney. They have a daily show, NBA Today, I think it's called, the new version of The Jump, is required to make news because it drives ratings and there's advertisers that are reliant on people watching it. You know what gets people to watch? When Shams puts out a report that says nothing, but it inspires or incentivizes the panel to have a conversation so that people are thinking they might learn something new, and maybe we are getting closer to a Giannis resolution on what's next. The only reason why that tweet went out today was for that reason alone, not because we are closer. He was even careful enough to hedge against any sort of prediction that Giannis could be traded soon, because he could be traded right now during the stream. He can also be traded in July. And honestly, that's probably the most ideal time to do it because the Milwaukee Bucks will know where they're going to be in a very stacked draft. If they happen to get the number one pick, maybe that convinces Giannis to stick around. Why not play with AJ DeBoncer, Darren Peterson, Caleb Wilson, any of these guys? Is that enough for you to stay? Also, there'll be more players available. There'll be more certainty with contracts. It's now in Milwaukee's interest to not have Giannis put on that uniform for the rest of the season, for them to start tanking, losing games, increasing their chance of getting a better draft pick. And oh, by the way, the Bucks are involved in some swaps. Let me pull this up. Okay. So you see here, this is the order as currently listed. If I were to just sim the lottery until, oh, perfect. All right. So if Milwaukee were to get a pick better than New Orleans, who's going to Atlanta, you see on the screen right here how that pick goes to Atlanta due to a prior trade. Let's see if it lets me give the explanation as to why. There it is right there. Atlanta gets the better of New Orleans, Milwaukee's pick. Milwaukee gets the other, right? I assume that is from the Jrue Holiday trade. Someone can, is this swap from the Jrue Holiday trade? Perhaps, maybe not, maybe so, maybe it was something different. I'm not sure. But regardless, Milwaukee wants their pick to be that good to give to Atlanta because that means they get Atlanta's pick via New Orleans. It's complicated, but just put it this way. They have incentives to lose. So we come full circle now. How great was that the first time I hit Sim Lottery that we got one of those examples of Milwaukee jumping up to third, but they would end up with the fifth pick because New Orleans falls down to number 5. So my point here is when you read this report and you see that Milwaukee is working towards getting a deal done, I don't deny that that's a fact. But to publish a report that has nothing new in it whatsoever would imply in people's minds that something is imminent or we're working towards it, when we most certainly are not. Most other news breakers that don't have an obligation to Nielsen ratings, clicks, and publications that have to produce something to get people talking and using us as their source. I haven't seen a single legitimate reporter out there saying this is any closer than it was last week. And I understand that the trade deadline is coming up here within a month. But even then, Milwaukee can hold Giannis, suck for the rest of the year, get a good draft pick, and then reevaluate this in the summer with more options and clarity on what's going to happen next for them. Because if they end up with a number 3 pick or number 4 pick, that could change everything. That could change their direction on how they want to rebuild. And as long as Giannis is still being paid by the Milwaukee Bucks, those checks are being signed by the Bucks, they have the leverage of optionality in determining what they want to do next. Giannis, you want to come back for your final year, make another run at it, and then have this conversation again the following season? Probably not, nor is that ideal, but at least it would be something to consider. If you trade now, it better be an absolute Godfather offer. There is no way you'll see anything better than this. Just take it now. That's the only deal I am considering if I'm Milwaukee. And there's only 2 teams that can provide a deal like that, in my opinion. And it's the 2 teams who will not care about Giannis's availability: Oklahoma City and San Antonio. After what we've seen from the Spurs, Dylan Harper, Vassell, and Steph Castle. Those are 3 names. Like, no, we're good, man. Even if you just wanted one of those, I think we're good. OKC, they are the overwhelming favorites as currently constructed, set up for the next decade plus. Chemistry is off the charts. Those are the 2 teams that could give you a Desmond Bane plus Mikal Bridges return on your investment. So if I'm not going to get that, we're going to sit on Giannis till the summer. So it's discouraging to see my timeline overwhelmed with Giannis conversation as if something has changed when it most certainly has not. Does that make sense? Chat got awfully quiet when I was up here on my soapbox preaching, but it's also the boring point of view, but it's also the most pragmatic. I know you guys want me to come in here and say, DEFCON 1, Giannis is being traded. If I find out from people within the know, like I knew Trae Young was going to Washington. I think I alluded to it on this show, but it was such a certainty. If I told you who my source was, you'd be like, oh, okay, I believe you. Think about who my source was. Like, it was that obvious. Trae was going to Washington specifically and was going to be shut down for the rest of the year. I don't have that same information regarding Giannis. And even if it trickled down to me, it would have to come from the agents and players involved. Very rare for a deal to get done like Luka for Anthony Davis. Did you guys know, by the way? It's so ridiculous. I don't even think I need to protect this information anymore. That it is a fact that the Lakers were not the first call from Nico Harrison. I know for a fact, and I cannot reveal my source, but I know it. Oh, Jalen Brunson's going to play. All right, the Knicks aren't punting tonight. I do know it for a fact that Nico Harrison called a different team. Josh Hart also going for the Knicks tonight. All right, cool. All right, we're back. Nico Harrison called another team before Rob Pelinka. And the team that picked up the phone thought they were being trolled in that it was a joke, that they didn't even treat it as a serious inquiry. Because why would the Mavericks ever think about trading that guy? And it was actually a real call placed by Nico to that franchise. Now, I will say it was for a player that is equal to Luka, and he was proposing a 1-for-1 swap. But ultimately, even if that franchise was approached about that phone call, they would just deny it. Like it was probably a joke or something. We didn't take it seriously. We all moved on. It most certainly happened. And then they ultimately ended up with the Lakers. Helwig says that Shams has been pushing this Giannis stuff since 2020. The whole Bucks fan base has been calling it out for 6 years. sorry, my chat is all messed up. Can you guys just give me a second here so I can reload the chat? I do have something to say about that. Is this going to let me load? Okay, I can see 2 comments from Logan and Stop It. Nico called Sam Presti. No, you got to keep going north. What was I saying? What was I just about to respond to? Oh, Bucks fans. Well, yeah, Bucks fans got mad at me in particular this past summer because I said the second apron was coming for them next, understanding like Bucks fans had I obviously know that they're not in the second apron anymore. Like we got out of the second apron. It's the mere presence of the second apron plus Damian Lillard's zombie contract, and you know you can't go above it if you want to be able to surround Giannis with a team worthy of a championship. That the second apron's mere presence is going to claim you as a victim next because you're not going to be able to build that team around Giannis. That is necessary to get him to believing in the franchise again long term. And that is most certainly what has happened here. They have gone to their limit in signing players, transactions, going to the ATM for cash withdrawals in the casino because they just lost it all at the blackjack table. They keep pressing, and they are out of money and options. And I do blame the penalties associated with that second apron and the luxury taxes that some of these governors and owners do choose not to play or pay. That's responsible for Giannis not having a team worthy of a championship. What else you guys got, chat? Got another, let's call it 5 to 6 minutes before we need to go watch LeBron's final game in Cleveland. Is this the last time? Is this the last game? Cleveland, is this for you for just one more time? Jokic. I don't even feel the need really to keep it private because the franchise would just deny it. Like if this ever for some reason got aggregated, and I've spoken about it a couple of times, I think, like, no, they'd be like, that never happened. And there's no way for me to prove it. But I know from a very reliable source that Nico Harrison offered Luka Doncic for Anthony Edwards straight up. And Minnesota just laughed and hung up the phone and didn't treat it real. But I will not reveal my source because then you'll know it's legitimate. Driving to Toyota Center in 90-ish minutes. Why are you always doom and gloom, Helwick? The Spurs are going to get you a victory when you're actually in person. Tonight's the night. The Battle of the I-10 Expressway. Anything else? Boy, is it beautiful outside. Carly, have you been in here this whole time? I haven't mentioned the weather once in nearly an hour of broadcast time. No, why would you trade Anthony Edwards for Luka Doncic if you're Minnesota? Your entire brand is chemistry and team is built around Ant. You must be just joining, Chase. I was just joking about that, but yeah, the NBA is not going to allow LeBron to just have his final game in Cleveland be, all right, see you guys, bye. Like, no. Whether he wants to go quietly or not, he is getting the full victory lap, Kobe style. It's just unacceptable, Jordan style. He cannot just disappear the way that Tim Duncan did. That would be so detrimental to the product. If LeBron announced, I'm retiring at the end of the year, every single away game is going to be sold out, thousands of dollars to get into. Yeah, that's true. They did trade Cat. The Minnesota trading Cat, though, was once again a product of the second apron. Remember that chemistry that Cat and Anthony Edwards had at that post-game press conference podium after the Phoenix series? How Ant was like, man, we run our offense through you. Stand up for yourself. They had one of the most genuine, authentic post-game press conferences I can remember. And then they traded Cat's ass. But that, once again, is because Cat is making so much money, and they had to find a way to get under that second apron. Getting back Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle has proven to be quite the maneuver when you're trying to shed money. Winter Olympics, the only thing I'm getting up for in the Winter Olympics is women's figure skating is really all I care about. And I guess the gold medal match in hockey. I've been watching the Australian Open. It was a bummer to see the guy, the Italian that had to retire against Djokovic. That's got to suck. But the women's side, Anna Samova lost. Pegula is just such a wall. Sabalenka, Coco. Poor Coco, man. She waited all the way until she was very classy and professional leaving the court. She went down the tunnel. She made a left-hand turn, and then she got really upset, but that was way out of public view. And then they broadcast it on ESPN. They like zoomed in on her, and she's slamming the shit out of a racket because her serve has been messed up for a while. She's pissed off. She's underachieving. She's young. I thought that was a little unfair to put her on blast like that, because now that video goes viral. Everyone's going to think she's a hothead when she was, in my opinion, the complete opposite. But no one's going to actually care about the context. They're just going to react to the video. You know, Osaka too. Was that really an injury? Like, Osaka's got the most mental hurdles of anyone on tour. And then she suddenly got hurt after the way that match ended, where her opponent was all pissed off at her. She does not handle negativity well. That Broncos Patriots game could have been part of the Winter Olympics. Good point, Sims. Yeah, it's at the point now, Logan, with Osaka, that it's just the way she's wired. It's like such a shame too, because she's such a talent. But it's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just unfortunate because she seems sad a lot. She was probably my favorite. Well, she got ruined by Serena. Serena's what did it originally. Serena was one of her heroes. And for Serena to put on that outburst after the match with the chair umpire, she was like bawling, crying after that. She felt as she ruined her heroes. I don't know. Like, there's some deep cuts there that should be private to her, but we have to watch play out. And just a single moment of adversity makes her retire. And it kind of happened again, but maybe she's actually injured. I'm hesitant to speculate, but we just know the history of her brain has been her biggest enemy. All right, friends, I think we're about to tip off in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. So I'm going to go watch that game, watch LeBron throw some chalk into the air. Fun show today. I don't think we'll have any news or progress on the Giannis situation by the time we run this back on Friday. But I do appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out. Maybe we'll get a police chase or two. Nice CLV day as well. Get those Josh Hart unders in. And be back with you guys on Viernes. GG's in the chat. Good luck tonight. See you guys in a couple days. Adios.